This is where I live. This is my home. This is the house I used to live in, and it's time for it to find a new home. So in my best Matt's RV Reviews imitation, we're going to take a look at the outside features first, and then the inside features. I'll give you 3 things I like and 3 things I dislike, and why I'm selling this house. It's time for it to find another owner. So I bought this house in 2018. This is 2024. And as you'll see when we go inside, well, you can see it from the outside too, I completely remodeled it. That's a brand new garage door. It's all new doors, all new windows. It's really a very, very nice house. But I no longer want to live in a house because this is my home. All right, let's take a look at the backyard. And you know, there's dogs on the street behind me that howl like they're coyotes. All right, so I put in all these gates and all new fencing. The entire backyard is DG, that's decomposed granite. I did all raised beds to minimize the effect of gophers and so forth. Put in a watering system. Nice little patio out here. I really like this feature actually, with the glass doors. I haven't been here. I was here in July for a few days. And I turned the house into an Airbnb when I went on the road 2 years ago. So the back concrete is not great. I did not replace it. I decided just to let it be because I might want to do something different in the future, but my future is now. But check this out. I got 2 pastures, a 2-stall barn, and a tack room back there. I got some, yard art and sculpture. I've got a 12-foot gate on the fence side here, a 6-foot gate in the middle that goes back to the barn, and a 12-foot gate up on that side. Oh yeah, and a greenhouse that's in somewhat disrepair because it's pretty windy here much of the time. Raised beds, very, very cool. This giant oak tree, and this maple tree that was a gift to me. So coming on back around to the front, we've got French doors. I apparently have birds in the bushes. And I've also done a lot to make this a smart home. So let's get some curtains open, get a little more light in here, and we'll show you what's going on. So I lived in this house from 2018 until 2021. And even during that time, I was doing a lot of RV traveling. But bought it in 2018, started the remodeling right away. I lived on dusty concrete floors for about 7 months. I'll see if I can find a picture. You wouldn't believe what this fireplace wall used to look like. And basically, I did all new outlets, all new light switches, all new doors, interior, all new trim, completely remodeled the kitchen. I'll see if I can find a picture to put up of what the kitchen used to look like. This is actually an awesome kitchen. Has worked out really well. This wall of cabinets over to the right here, that didn't exist. That was just a blank wall. It was nothing. But I thought this worked out super, super well. And then we've got patio doors out to the back. Dining room with the table that my Airbnb guests ruined in December, which is part of what drove me to this decision. Check out this cool piece though, although it won't be here for long because I'm doing an estate sale shortly. I just love this piece though. It's a chinoiserie, I think from the early 60s. And this is all bas relief, abalone, mother of pearl, and I forget what else is in there. This is an awesome pastel that was painted by a friend of mine, Otto Starkey. He participates in the Art Tehachapi show each year. And this was originally my office, which I turned into a bedroom again when I made it an Airbnb. And I've been here for a few days now. I've been working on several different things. One of them is I got here the first day and the internet over there was working just fine until about 7 o'clock in the evening. And then all of a sudden, I lost internet. Well, I'd already lost internet in my RV a couple of days earlier, and so now I really got a problem. So I'm working on straightening that out. I'll have a new router here on a couple of days. This is the master bedroom. And again, when I bought the house, check out the fans. I did everything kind of like almost steampunk, industrial, modern looking. And when I bought the house, it had super dark furniture in it. It had 7 different kinds of flooring. And now the entire house has just this one kind of luxury vinyl planking, which has a 20-year warranty, commercial warranty actually. And I had it laid on the diagonal because that looks even more contemporary for a longer period of time. I literally got this furniture delivered in November of 2021. Well, I got it delivered in September, but it wasn't completely finished until November of 2021, which was, just after I went on the road full time. And then here we've got the master bathroom. The only thing I didn't change in here was the shower because it was okay, and I didn't feel compelled to do that. So this is really nice. And we've got a nice big walk-in closet. Good space there. And of course, one of the questions is, why would you give this up? Well, why wouldn't I? Because my home is sitting out there in the driveway. I like having a steering wheel to turn. Here's the hall bathroom. Again, completely remodeled. But I didn't change the bathtub because it was perfectly fine. Got a laundry room down here, right there. By the way, this washer, I'm going to show you the inside. For those of you that are experiencing laundromats, as I am now, I always get the machine that is, it says it's 4 loads. It usually costs like $6.50. And this washer is actually bigger than that. I put more in this machine yesterday doing laundry than I could fit in one of those big front-loading machines. Oh, and it didn't cost me $6.50, but that's okay. That's not something that I really care about holding on to. This room was my gym originally. You can see my power rack there. And when I decided to turn it into an Airbnb, I decided to lock this room because I didn't want guests to have access to, free weights and hurt themselves or bang stuff into my walls or any of that kind of stuff. So everything that I didn't want guests to have access to that I wanted, like climate-controlled storage for, I stuffed into this room. I stuffed a lot of stuff in here. So how am I going to get rid of all the stuff? Hey, kid, what you doing? What you looking at? What you looking at? How am I going to get rid of all the stuff? I am going to have an estate sale. And hopefully that'll be happening within a couple of weeks. So part of my purpose here on this trip is to remove anything that I don't want in the sale. And for the most part, that's only going to be things that can't be sold. So, for example, I have a lot of wine. I was buying wine by the case to put out for the guests. Well, no more guests, no more wine. Let me just give you a quick look out here in the other big area I've got to go through. And that's the garage. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff, guys. And I got a lot less stuff than I used to. Look at all this. I moved into this house and I left most things in boxes. I didn't have the shelves then. I left most things in boxes while we were doing the remodeling. And what I realized was, I didn't actually unpack most of those boxes. Didn't really need most of that stuff. And so that's the thing, right? What do you really need? And what I know is, I can live perfectly well with what I have in that RV in the driveway. And I enjoy being able to live that way. So let's sit down, turn the camera around, and I'll give you just a little more update about what's going on here. Okay, so what's going on, right? I got some things I need to do. I've done some stuff already. I don't know exactly how long I'm going to stay here to take care of that, although I looked at the weather, and in a week, It's going to be lows in the low 20s. So I'm thinking I want to be out of here by then, if it's at all possible. Or I may leave and have to come back. We'll see. How did I get to this point, right? Well, it's been a progression. In 2018, I sold what I now call the big house, which was 3,500 square feet on 15 acres, 16 miles outside of town. Way more than I needed at any point in my life, and yet I thoroughly enjoyed it for almost 20 years. 22 years, actually, when I think about that. So I had some issues with that house. Although I loved the house, I loved the property. I had two dogs, which is already in one of the pictures here, and a cat. Um, I had to go home and feed the dogs at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so once I left town for the day, I was unlikely to come back into town to do anything social. So I had a pretty limited social life for many years at that point. And what I used to tell my clients was, Stallion Springs area is great if you're a couple. It's not so great if you're single, especially with animals. And so it was also a big house to take care of. I mean, 3,500 square feet. Although I had, but because I built the house, I had set it up to be as easy to clean and maintain as possible, all part of the design. But still, it's a lot. It's a lot. 3,500 square feet, 15 acres. I had reached the point, even in 2018, I no longer had the time or inclination to be able to do the amount of fire clearing every spring that was required. I did it up until I think 2016 was the last year I did all of it, and then I hired out about half of it in 2017. And in 2018, I'm like, yeah, let me just write a check for this. Because basically, I was on the side of a mountain running a weed eater for days to be able to get enough fire clearance done to meet the requirements. So just way too much stuff. So I moved into town, into the house that I'm showing you today, and I was very concerned when I did that. I was going from 3,500 square feet to under 1,600 square feet, so less than half the size of my previous house, and from 15 acres to half an acre. And I'm thinking, man, how am I ever going to be able to live with this? Well, obviously, I learned how to do it. And I took a house that was in pretty average condition, slightly below average in some areas when I bought it in 2018, completely remodeled it with doing exactly what I would tell my real estate clients not to do, which is dumping more money into it than the market can bear. So overbuilding, basically. But I did it with the thought at that time that this was going to be my forever home, that this was going to be the house that I was carried out of feet first. And, it's really interesting how thought processes change over time, because when I made the decision to buy this house, I'd done a fair amount of traveling throughout the country already, and I kept thinking about all the places I had lived previously, all of the places I had visited, and I decided that this place, this town, was the best I'd ever seen, and so I was going to commit to being here for the rest of my life. Oh, until I didn't. I became an accidental full-time nomad. I left on a trip in 2021 to go out for 5 or 6 weeks and see if I could work and live on the road effectively. Found out that I could, and essentially never came back. I came back, did some work to get it ready to be an Airbnb, and then left again. And yeah, I haven't slept in that house since 2021. But everything is seasonal. And so my season for having the big house and the big property, that ended. And that got me to the point of this much smaller house and much smaller property. And now that's ended. And so now I'm living my best road life until that season has run. So why am I selling the house if I thought this was going to be my forever home? One of the things that I figured out is that simplicity is much more peaceful than complexity. I already know that I can't have a long-term rental. I don't have the intestinal fortitude for that, the emotional fortitude for that. Every time I've done it, it's turned out badly. Don't want to do it again. The Airbnb thing worked out great until it didn't. I've only had damage twice. Once was a year and a half or so ago with some PCT hikers, and although they showered, They still didn't get all the dirt off and managed to stain some towels and a duvet cover or sheets or something beyond being able to be bleached out. So I had to replace some stuff from them. That wasn't a big deal. But and then the damage that was done in December was a bigger deal. You know, they ruined my dining room table that I've had since 1981. Oh well, and several of the dining room chairs, stained the seat covers and so forth, stained a bunch of towels and duvet covers and stuff like that that couldn't be bleached out. And I thought, well, I can spend the money to replace this stuff. But over the past 6 months, the rate of rental, the frequency of rental, and the rate per night has been declining. And so it's like, well, if I keep doing this from a tax perspective, this house is going to become a rental and not my full-time residence. I'll lose my capital gains exclusion. I'll be in a completely different tax situation than I'm in right now. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do any of that stuff. So let's nip this in the bud because the number of days it was rented, I'm actually fine to be able to do this. Let's stop all of this right now. Let's reintroduce more simplicity. So by getting rid of the house, one of the things that I realized is I'll have proceeds that go in the bank that will pretty much fund my life from, actually from an earnings perspective, which is really awesome. But here's what I lose. I lose the need to have to deal with a water leak, which I had to deal with in December. I had an outdoor pipe that burst, and it cost me like $150 to get the leak repaired, which was not bad, and got it done in less than 24 hours from notification, also really good. But my water bill was double what it would have been, and that was just from running for less than a day. It only ran for hours. Um, so I won't have to deal with that kind of stuff. I won't be paying property taxes, electricity, natural gas, internet. Although the house has been paying for itself on its own as an Airbnb rental, there's still a certain level of complexity with having to make sure all those bills get paid all the time. No cleaning service, no lawn service will be needed. It'll be just so many fewer things to have to pay attention to. And that's a very, very freeing thought. The other thought that I've been having is at this point in time, and again, subject to change because you never know, but at this point in time, I don't see myself ever owning a home again. It's possible I may decide to come off the road. It's possible I may be forced off the road at some point, health or whatever. But at this moment, I see myself more likely as a renter than as a homeowner. That's what I see. Now, I've been through a lot of changes, especially in the last 10, 12 years. And I am always open to change, and I encourage people to be open to change. So I could change my mind. I could do something different. But for now, this is the right thing. And I'm so glad that you're coming along on this journey with me. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to watch my videos. It really does help to support the channel, so I appreciate that. And I love the fact that somebody else is interested in what might be able to help them with some of these kinds of decisions that they're making. So thank you so much for watching. That's it for now. We'll see you on the next one.